this is Dana with Dana Digital Tutorials, and today I'm going to show you how to create some simple actions to speed up your workflow. We're going to create 3 different actions. One is going to just change the resolution from 72 DPI to 300 DPI. Our second one is going to do that, plus it's going to resize it down to the exact proper size. And our third action is just a simple save action. So let's get started. In order to record the close function, we'll need to make sure we have 2 images open. Otherwise, when we close the one, you can see we don't see our actions. So we'll just pick 2 images. I recommend you pick 2 that are in your folder that you're going to be doing these actions on. And now we're ready to record. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these 3 because I'm going to record them again by dragging them down to my trash. And we're going to then do the first step, which is to make sure, just put all those words together really fast, which is to just make sure that this image is not currently at 300 DPI. Because if it is, there will be nothing for our action to record when we go into image size. So the quick way to get to image size, which we will be doing today, is Command Option I, or on a PC it will be Control Option I. So we're going to get into our image size and we're going to see that it is in fact at 72 DPI. So now we can begin to record our action. And by the way, I recommend that you go ahead and have a folder for your batch actions. You can create one by clicking right here. That way when we're in the batch feature, we can pick our batch actions quickly. So we're going to hit plus and we're going to create our action. We're going to name it 72 DPI to 300 DPI, which DPI and PPI are the same exact thing. It's dots per inch and pixels per inch. Think pre-computer generation and digital cameras and post. So we're going to hit record. We're going to do our image size, which is Command Option I or Control Option I. We're going to uncheck this box because what we want is to keep our pixels in the amount of pixels we have. We just want to change how they print. Instead of printing only 72 dots per inch, which would be the equivalent of a Word document, we need more data to get a clear photo when printing. So we wanted to print 300 dots for every inch. And as you can see, it went, let me change that back for you to see. It went from being able to print a 69-inch photo of very poor quality up to only 16 inches, that would be down to 16 2/3 inch, because we're printing more dots per inch. We're going to run out of dots more quickly when we only have 5,000 pixels. But this is still too big, but for this action we're not changing that. We're going to hit OK. And now we're going to save. We're going to hit save. Now if I just hit save here and I don't do save as, it's going to assume I want to save it in the same place that it was before, which is okay for this action. But if you've got a layered file when you're recording, you may have to flatten it first or do save as and select the PNG format. And now we're going to close. If I had had only one folder open or one file open, I would not be able to see my actions anymore, so I would not be able to hit stop here, which means I would then record an open. But if I did that, I would be able to just take the open and drag it to the trash down here. But I'm not going to actually drag that. I want to keep it. So we can close this or leave it open. It doesn't matter. But now we're set up and ready to run for our batch. So we're going to go to File, Automate, Batch. Now if you notice here, it has automatically picked the last file I was on. If you just made this recording and you don't see yours here, or you don't see it in the drop down, it is most likely because you are still recording. So open another file, check that you've stopped recording, delete the actions that you did not mean to record. So the action steps. So we're going to leave this the way it is here. We're just going to tell it where the files are. It's already remembered where I'm at. So I'm going to say, okay. And I'm actually going to come over here and fix this because I had recorded some other stuff. So I'm just going to paste these up here. And we've now told it where our folder files are. We can tell it to stop for errors. This is a simple action. The only errors that you're going to get is if any of these are layered PSD files. So if you want, I'm going to hit cancel. I'm going to open this. You could tell it to flatten in this recording, and then you could do a save as a PNG, and that would work as well. It's a little more complicated, so for this we're just going to focus on flatten. So let's close that. Let's go to File, Automate, Batch, tell it where it's at. You usually have to select this every time, but it remembers this time. And if you have subfolders over here, you can check this box and it'll do everything. Keep in mind, if you do not record a close feature or use this destination of save and close, you may come back to your computer completely frozen because you have 1,000 images open. Not that we're working on 1,000 images, but you know what I mean. So the rest of these can stay unchecked. And then we're going to come over here. We're just going to leave it as save and close. There are other features in here. We don't need those because we are just saving and closing in the same location. We do have save and close recorded in our action, so this is redundant, but that is okay. We're going to hit OK. And now it is going to fix these 3 images and make them all 3 300 DPI. They were 72 DPI when we started, and it is pretty quick, but earlier today I was running into problems. It's done, and it was taking 5 minutes to save one file in my Photoshop, which is why I'm over here in Photoshop Beta. So we're going to open these 3, and now we're going to check them. And we can see this one is 300 DPI, this one is 300 DPI, and this one is 300 DPI. So they're done. And I know that I don't have to worry about it. So if I used an upscaler to do a bunch of images, I could then do this batch. Now, what if I wanted to fix the size because my upscaler made it too big? Well, we can do that in our action. I'm not going to re-record the whole thing though, so let's go ahead and just drag this to the plus sign. It's going to create a copy here, and I can just change the name and resize, and I would recommend you do whatever size it's going to so you can keep track of which action does what. Now, if I start recording while I'm clicked here, it is going to start recording at the bottom. It's not going to do me any good to do these things after the save and close, so I'm going to click on the image size, which is the resolution, and then I'm going to start recording there. I do recommend that you record your resolution separately from your image size, because when files are a different size, sometimes it's going to do one and not the other, so just make them 2 separate steps. So we'll leave this 300 resolution intact. We're clicked on it and we're going to record. Now we're going to go to our image size. We're going to check this box on if it's off. And we're going to change this to pixels, and we're going to change it to 2790. We could have done inches, but I wanted you to see this pixel here, which is 2462. That's 2 pixels too tall. So we're going to fix that in the next step. So we're going to say OK. And now we're going to do Command Option C or Control Option C. Now we're in the canvas size. You can also find that up here in image if you prefer. We're going to change this to 2460. We want it to crop those 2 pixels. They're not going to be noticed. And then we're going to say OK. Now it's already recorded our save and close, so we don't have to do that. We can just hit stop. And this one is ready to be used. So I'm going to close this file without saving it. And then we're going to run the action. So we're going to go to File, Automate, Batch. And now we're going to choose our folder if it's not already chosen for us. Sorry about that. We're going to make sure our resize action is chosen. And if we have subfolders, we're going to want to check this box. Our destination is just save and close. If you wanted to keep a bigger copy, then what you could do is you could click on folder here and you could change the folder that it's saving to. So we'll just call this a temp folder here, and we're going to create that, and we want it to save our copies there. And then we're going to hit OK. And it's going to run these for us. I left this all the same. I didn't need to change anything because I don't want it to change the file name. I wanted to keep the same file name. So let's go ahead and look in here, and I can see that it hasn't saved anything. So why is that? Well, let's open this and let's look. You can see that it's saved in this folder instead of my temp folder. Why did it do that? I am not sure. So let's take a look at our action, and I think I know why, and that is because our save here is saving in its current place. So that's why I typically like to record the save in my action rather than relying on it in the batch. So if I wanted these to save in that folder, I can delete this save here, and I can click on the canvas size, I can record, and I can do save. I could pick this temp folder and I can save. Or if I didn't want to do it that way, I can undo this save and this close, and then I can run my action again. Yes, my images are already sized, but that's not a big deal. So we're going to hit automate batch. We're going to go through this all again. We've got our folder chosen, and let's push play and see if we get what we want this time. Let's hit process, and now we can see that it's copying into the temp folder. And the reason for that is because it played all the action steps and then it did its step in the batch. Well, our action step closed it, so it didn't have anything to save into the temp folder. So if you want to use the little dialogue and tell it where to save it, don't record your save and close. But I do recommend, if you're going to do it that way and you have layered Photoshop files, you include image or the layer flatten right up here. Layer, I'm pointing to my computer like you can see it. The layer flatten right here as one of the first steps, if not the first step, just to make sure it doesn't run across errors when trying to save a layered file as a PNG. Now, along those same save options, let me show you another feature, and that is going to be what I use here on a daily basis. I don't put this in batch. I put it up here. I had it record a save as and put it into my here. So it saves it, it flattens it, and it saves it. Why is that? Because if I'm working on a layered PSD file and I wanted to save that, that's this one. And then if I want to flatten this, which I do, and then I want to save it as a PNG in a specific folder, you can see here, it's going to do that. So if I'm done working on this image and I want to save into my folder, my work process is to have a separate folder called Post Today. I put all my new images in there. I get them all ready, I post them, and then I archive those into a different area of my computer. So let's go ahead and create one of those actions. We've got a image open, and we're not going to close in this action, so we don't need two images. We're going to record, and we're just going to say save 20 ounce to post today so we can remember what it does. And then we're going to do file, save as, or save as copy, whichever you prefer. I do have the legacy settings, so I'm able to do file, save as, and see all of these. If you get a very short list, you'll probably also have a little icon here that says save as copy. Just click that and you'll be fine. Yes, I want to keep it as a PNG, but this time I want to save it into a 20 ounce tumbler file. I only have to create that once, and once I've created it, it will be there. And then I just hit save. I confirm that it's large. I could make it smaller if I wanted it to take longer. And then I hit stop. I could record close here. I don't want to. This is just when I'm in my workflow and I want to quickly throw a copy of that image into that folder. What I did miss is recording the flatten, so let's go ahead and record that. I can't record in the front as the first step though, so we'll have to record and then we'll have to change the order. All I've done is hit Command J to create a duplicate layer, because if I don't, then flatten will have nothing to record. I'm going to record. I'm going to go to Layer, Flatten Image. I'm going to hit Stop, and I'm going to put it right there. Now, if I record, let me go ahead and hit J again. And by the way, if I'd hit undo here, it would have changed the order because it would have moved it back to where it was. So it's better to just hit J again. So now if I push play on this, you'll be able to see it's going to flatten it and it's going to save it right into my 20-ounce tumbler. Where I do want to caution you is that this will write over anything you already have with the same file name in that folder. So make sure you're working with unique file names each time you go to work. I personally like to have the date and then the initials for the AI generator that I'm using, and then a dash 1, 2, 3, 4. So it might look like for today 082624 MJ, because I created this in Midjourney, -1. And then I just keep going, and that way if I ever need to get back to the original file, I kind of know the approximate date that I did it in Midjourney, and I can get back to it quickly. I hope this tutorial helps you work faster and smarter. This is Dana with Dana Digital Tutorials. Have a great day.